It's a very important skill that we always have to.
You guys hear it?
Hi, Christine here doing my Skillshare. What I'm going to talk about is public speaking. Now, it's a very important skill that we always have to have, although we don't do face-to-face, but like even speaking in front of the camera is already that we need to have certain skills and have to get comfortable with. So because we only have 3 minutes, so I'm not going to go over a lot of tips, but I pulled out 4 things that can be utilized right away, and keep in mind that these 4 things will get you going, all right? So the first thing is, right, but go to this facility a little earlier, maybe an hour, whatever. Sometimes they won't let you in that early, but that's okay. Get enough time, get yourself comfortable, make sure that you know the room, and check with the person who does your technical support. If someone there on site, that would be great. If not, get the phone number or extension number. If there's anything happen in between, like in the middle of you doing your presentation, you got someone that, you know, come and rescue you. Or what I usually do is I tell them, can you stay? It's only about half an hour, you know, stay here. So hopefully someone will be there and rescue if you have a microphone problem or whatever. So that just gives you a peace of mind. The second thing is we focus on the beginning of the presentation or the speech. Sometimes it's important, but I think it's equally important is your outro, how you end your presentation, because most of the time people would take that piece of information that will last until they got home. You're going to remember that piece more than anything in the middle, right? So the beginning and the end are equally important. So what message you want them to take home with, make it a very strong statement at the end. Use props. Some people, well, they're not comfortable like having nothing, holding on to nothing, then they just like get really nervous and stiff. The thing is, I feel more comfortable grounded if I have something in my hand. So having something that to hold on to is good. You can hold a clicker, you can hold paper, but if you shake, if you're the one who shakes a lot when you're nervous, then don't hold a piece of paper because you'll be very nervous seeing yourself shaking. So maybe holding a book or a little bit something heavier, a pad of paper or a pen, right? So people don't notice that you're shaking when you're talking. So really help you calm yourself down too. Another thing is sometimes when we look at video, we focus on how we look. What kind of mistake you made. But like when you look at people's presentation, most of the time you don't pay a lot of attention on how that person looked when you're into the presentation, taking the information in. It's the information you're providing has more value than how you look. And don't be too hard on yourself. Like, I don't have a perfect face. I don't even have my makeup on. But if I am talking about something that I know what I'm talking about and I believe that it's going to benefit you, the audience will pay more attention to what you're talking about rather than how you look. So don't be too hard on yourself. So these are just my 4 pieces advice, tips that can help you go a long way when you're presenting in front of people. Okay? Thank you for listening.
Great job, Christine.
That was awesome.
That's it.
Those are some great tips.
Yep.
Yeah, just a few things. I'm sure like there are tons of them, but just a few things that is easier to remember.
Have you done a lot of public speaking, Christine?
I used to teach like seminar and stuff like that. I used to do more, but not anymore. I'm in the student role. Yeah.
I definitely liked your tip about putting something in your hand, like a prop. I'm like a hand talker and a fidgeter, so I have to like always hold something, otherwise my hands just start going kind of all over the place. So yeah, Zoom's actually my best friend for talking because it's like when you're sitting, you're just kind of forced to relax your hands. But,
and another thing I think people would, I think last week on Thursday we talked about the community and hold hand, being comfortable with silence. Sometimes we are so nervous that we just want to feel that and then we forgot what we want to talk about. So if you catch yourself like forgot what you wanted to say or whatever, just give yourself a couple seconds. People don't notice. Like, I think we're just too critical on my own. Yeah. Good luck to you guys.
Yeah, I think that's very true, especially what you said about, people aren't really paying attention to what you look like. It's more about they're trying to listen, right? So yeah, that's very true. Very, very true. Thank you, Charlene. Any thoughts, comments, questions from the group?
I think the tips were really helpful though. I'm not very good at public speaking. That's something I'm trying to get better at. I can see that those tips will help me a lot. So thank you.
Thank you.
Were you, Christine, when you used to do a lot of seminars, were you someone who would memorize your presentation or did you need like prompts?
Oh goodness. Usually I'm the one who likes to write them down as I'm thinking, processing, and put like conform like what the key things that I want to talk about, and then I'll talk in my head, and then I'll do it, talk again, and by the time I got in front of the group, most of the time I don't even remember what I wrote down because it's already digested in you, and then you just like go out and talk about what you know, because you know your material by that time you all said. But sometimes you have to watch out and see the audience. That's why a lot of speakers, I noticed that too, they test the floor first, like how do you know about dogs, so you know how you kind of pivot your speech based on the knowledge of the audience, right? Sometimes I think it depends on the level of the knowledge they have. If they are in a little bit like a higher level, then you provide them with something not as basic. But if they don't even have a knowledge, then you give them a little bit from the ground up and test the floor a little bit first. And be prepared. They will ask you questions and let them know if you want them to ask anytime or do you want them to ask at the end. Some people don't like to be interrupted in the middle because they'll forget what they wanted to say, but let them know ahead of time and give them an agenda. That would be really helpful.
Awesome. Anybody else with comments? No?
I really like, the part about like how, I guess, holding the book, I never would have thought of that because, I kind of do sometimes like a little bit shaky, like, I don't know. And then, I like that when you're, this the point about like that people aren't really like being so critical that you are of yourself. It's true because, when you're watching like a TED Talk, like you're there to like watch them or like, it's never about that. Like you're not going in there to be like, what are they doing wrong? So like, I think that's a good point. And I'll definitely take that for my next presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Christine. Yeah, there's my biggest takeaway. I've unfortunately had to do public speaking in different scenarios. I crashed and burned really hard last year at an event that I had no preparation for because I was asked to do it at last minute. Andre, if you remember, it was when Annette asked me to go to Grand Bend for that like board directors meeting and then didn't tell me until I was there that I was doing like a speech for like 10 minutes. And it was like a few of the people from Leap In last year attended, and I got caught in a loop because I had no time to prepare, and I like it was like watching an absolute train wreck. It was so terrible. I'd only experienced that once before. My uncle and I are really close in age, and I had to do a speech at his wedding right after his best man, and he asked me like a minute before, and I'm not good. I need time to prepare and practice and things like that. I don't like last minute things. So, oh God, honestly, I think that was the worst. Those two experiences, the worst experience of my life. I wish I could have just died on stage. So that's my advice is preparation if you need it. Yeah.
Did you last the whole 10 minutes though? Like for the speech at the Leap In event? Like were you able to make it through?
I made it to about 6 minutes, and Jacob actually was in the audience and he's looking at me like this going, like, you need to stop, like just cut it. And I looked over at Annette, I was like, okay, and I'm done. And I just kind of walked off. I don't know. I don't even want to think about it. It's like a bad nightmare that happened that I just try to ignore. Oh, I'm getting like stressed out just thinking about it.
And you know what, Dave? Who else remember except you?
It's true. And that's what Annette had said to me. She's like, no one is going to really remember. Don't worry about it.
I was like, someone took me on stage someone's birthday and then asked me to sing a song. I'm like, yeah. And then halfway I just forgot. And then you know what? Nobody remember except myself, right? So
Yeah, they always say you're your own worst critic, right? So,
yeah.
okay. I'm just going to stop the recording here.